Hi everybody, this is Ashley Bryant with Worth It Every Time. Today's episode is going to be tied up there in this with us. We're going to continue our conversation on anxiety. However, today's focus is going to be more so on our kids. As we are experiencing anxiety with regards to bills getting paid and how we're going to get things done, and how we're going to gain employment for those of us who've lost employment, where that employment source is going to come from after this whole COVID-19 situation is over. They're also dealing with things as well, having to learn all of their last weeks of school online, and it being a struggle for a lot of them. Also the anxiety or fear of not being promoted to the next grade because of this, losing friendships or feeling that they've lost friendships because they haven't talked to their friends in a very long time, feeling isolated. That can also increase depression and anxiety in younger kids as well. So I thought that this would be a good time for us as parents to learn how to be able to help our kids deal with their anxieties and their fears and get them through this just as much as we need help getting them through this. And so today, with the title, the scriptures that came to mind today, the first one anyway, is 3 John 1:4, which says, I could have no greater joy than to hear that my children are following the truth. And as a proud Christian mom, the truth for my kids would be, following Christ, following the word of the Bible, and knowing that they have a foundation in Him to stand on when they do run into things and do run into troubles in life, and things of that nature. So there's the truth that I want my children to learn. But the other scripture is from Philippians 4:6-7, which states, don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all that He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your heart and mind as you live in Christ Jesus. And with that particular verse, I really kind of just wanted to emphasize the fact that we can be going through a difficult time, even like now, but still be able to experience peace, knowing that at the end of it, it'll all work itself out. We may not know how it's going to happen. We don't know when or what's going to happen, but at the end of the day, it will work out. So, to have anxiety and worry and fear fill us up and make us almost unproductive and, kind of just stuck in, that particular mind frame of what am I supposed to do? How am I going to do this? Which does nothing for us. Instead, we can, dwell in peace and knowing that it'll all pass at some point. And so we'll be able to figure out how we can go ahead and move forward. In today's episode, you guys will experience a treat as you guys will get to meet, for those who don't know her, my 10-year-old daughter, Sanai. She and I are going to have a brief conversation about, how she's handling all of this, what her fears are. And then we'll go into different things as far as ways that we can, help our children. But again, as I said in my last video, keep in mind that this video is informational. It does not intend to replace therapy. So if you or your family members are experiencing anxiety, depression, or anything that is causing significant distress in any area of your life, please, please, please seek help from a therapist, and they can help you to get the peace that you need. So introduce yourself to everyone and tell them a little bit about who you are.
I'm Sanai. I'm 10 years old, like my mom said earlier. One of my favorite things to do is dance. I've been doing it for a very long time. And I just really like it. I don't know what else to say about it.
Okay, so her name is Sanai. She likes to dance. If you had an emotion word to describe how you're feeling right now, what would it be?
Trapped.
Trapped? What does that mean?
I would say trapped because during quarantine and everything, you're not able to leave the house without seeing the word social distancing or stay 6 feet apart from people or stuff like that. When you go into the store, you can't go a specific way. I just feel like I'm not really free like I was before all this stuff happened.
Okay. So, do you know what it means to feel anxious, or do you know what the word anxiety means?
I think the word anxiety means for you to worry a lot.
Okay. And have you ever experienced anxiety before?
Yes. I've worried a lot about this quarantine thing. Like, I've worried about if we're never going to get out of quarantine again, if this is going to be permanent, if everyone's might get the coronavirus and then everyone will become sick and stuff like that.
So what do you do when you have those thoughts and those feelings?
What I do is I'll either dance and like practice dances and stuff, because that's when I kind of release my emotions and stuff, or I'll focus on what I'm doing at the time. So if I'm worrying about something that's happening right now, I'll do something that I like to do, like play a game or do just dance or talk with you, and then I'll be distracted with everything else other than worrying.
Okay. Do you think that what you're doing is effective? Like it helps to like get rid of the anxiety?
Yes, because it distracts me from worrying too much.
Okay. And then if you had something or like a piece of advice that you would give to other kids who are experiencing anxiety at home, what would you say?
I would probably have to say to them that to not worry so much about all of this. I mean, it's going away it's going to go away at some point. Just don't worry so much about it to the point where you worry about it 24/7 every day, all day, and you cry yourself to sleep at night because you think something's going to happen. Don't worry that much about it. Just let it fly by and you'll be all right.
Thank you so much. So even with that short amount, that was a lot to unpack. Say hi everyone. Hey everyone, this is Journey. We couldn't keep her busy long enough, so she's going to join us for this segment of the video. But again, that was a whole lot to unpack. And as you can see, even at the age of 10, with everything that's going on, she's going through a lot too. And she's experiencing about as much anxiety as an adult is. So we want to make sure that we're able to help our children through what they have going on as well. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. First point, my dear.
They are their own person.
Right, our children are our children, but they are definitely not our clone. So while she and I have experienced similar situations with regards to friends and how to deal with them and things of that nature, the way that she might deal with the situation is different from the way that I might deal with it, just because we are different. And I have to give her the space to be herself and to be able to experience and feel about an event the way that she feels about that event, and be able to help her from where she is. I'm an adult. I've been a child before. She's a child, but she's never been an adult. So I can't expect her to think and see the situation from my point of view, because she doesn't have the emotional maturity to do so. So being able to recognize and humble ourselves as parents and know that no, we have to come down to their level and help them on their level in order to, make sure that we're able to get them through that particular moment. Number 2.
The second point is be honest but appropriate.
When kids are anxious, they will ask a lot of questions. So we want to make sure that we're honest. We're not necessarily telling them lies or, giving them the college educated answer for a 5-year-old. So we want to make sure that we're being honest about what they're asking us, but also making sure that it's age appropriate. So explaining it to them in a way that would make sense to them, or trying to think about what you thought about when you were 5 years old. You didn't know what a lot of words meant, so being able to dumb it down as much as possible for younger kids, or even just age appropriate. Try to think about, what it means to them. Next.
Third point is set appropriate expectations.
So when a kid is anxious, like I stated in the last video, they might, their stomach hurts when they have to go to a party where there might be a lot of other kids their age. They're scared that they might be, made fun of. But if you know of the situation that your child is going to go into, and you can kind of give them details as far as, hey, this is what to expect, it might allow them to anticipate and plan how they're going to respond to that particular event. Key example, if your child is kind of anxious about going to a birthday party because there'll be a lot of kids there and they might be socially awkward and they might not know exactly what to do, you can let them know, hey, there's going to be, about 15 to 20 kids there. There'll be loud music. You might see streamers and everything else. That way they can kind of picture in their mind what they're walking into. And that way it's kind of easier for them to be able to make a plan as far as how they want to, respond to that environment when they get there. Next.
let them worry.
Right. So here's the one thing, right? We see a kid crying, we say, stop crying. It doesn't do anything for them to continue crying. Well, having someone say, don't worry, doesn't make us worry less. They're not giving us anything to stop us from worrying. They're just telling us not to do so. So to do that doesn't make a lot of sense. However, normalizing their worry, helping them to understand that just having some anxiety in life is okay. Anxiety kind of helps us to serve the purpose of avoiding dangerous situations and letting us know when we're walking into dangerous situations so we can anticipate the fallout or consequences. But we need to give them uninterrupted time that allows them to worry or to even vent about what they think they're going to go through. That way we can work with them to brainstorm solutions on how they can respond to that particular environment emotionally. My finger's in her mouth. That's gross. Keep going.
Avoid avoidance.
Right. So it's like you can't avoid failure. Failure helps us to grow. You can't avoid anxiety and worry because then you don't deal with the problem. So a good example also would be, I'm scared of other kids. Some other kids, might bully me. I don't ever want to go to school. And so you allow your child to stay home and you homeschool them. And that doesn't do anything for them because when they get older, they can't, you can't just stay in your home. You can't avoid people. We're made to interact. We're made for relationship. And so maybe instead of avoiding the situation, which does nothing for them, give them small exposures at a time to help them build up the way to cope and be able to sit in that anxiety for a little while and know that they can do that they can, experience anxiety and come out the other side of it. She's everywhere. Experience anxiety and come out the other side of it and know that nothing bad happened to them as a result of being able to experience a bit of anxiety. It gives them kind of like that emotional callus to know that, I've experienced anxiety before and I was strong enough to get through it that time. I'm sure I can get through it this time. It kind of helps to build that self-confidence when it comes to anxious situations. Next.
Reframe thoughts.
Right. So, when you have an anxious thought, it can kind of be overwhelming and even paralyzing because it can cause like a feeling of helplessness. You start having thoughts like, what if this might happen? And, I can't do this because this might happen. So one of the things that, there's a couple of things that you can do to help them to reframe that thought. The first would be to name the worry floating around in your head. So, if something happened where a kid was made fun of for raising their hand and getting a question wrong in class, and now one person made fun of them, and now they think the entire class, makes fun of them. No one likes me. So you want to, have them to name, what's worrying you, or, what is going on? What are you worried about? And then, what is that worry telling you? Is it telling you that, you're stupid, or, that no one likes you, like I said earlier? And then break it down and see if that worry is even legitimate. Just because one person said something about you, does that mean that everyone doesn't like you or that no one likes you? So making sure that whatever they're worried about is legitimate worry and a threat to them. And then take the worry thought and change it into something positive. So, one person did make fun of me, but I do still have other kids in class and other kids do like me. So I must be good at something, or they see something in me that makes them still like me. So turning that worry thought and finding the positive in that thought will help them to be able to deal with that anxiety. Next
one is build a coping kit.
So one of the things that she mentioned earlier when we were talking is that she dances when she worries, or she might play a game. That's a coping skill for her. That kind of helps her to get the energy out, the worried energy out of her body, and to distract herself from anxious thoughts and not letting it build to a point of overwhelming her and paralyzing her. But she also mentioned talking to me or talking to a friend or, another family member about what she's experiencing. So finding things that can help your child to get through that anxious worry would be great. Some things that you can do is like deep breathing. Having them have a stress ball, something they can squeeze to get that energy out. Maybe journaling their thoughts, writing things down and going back and looking at those thoughts later. And again, talking it out, having them talk to you about what's going on in their lives, what their thoughts and fears are. Go on.
Focus on basic health needs.
You can't be healthy if you're not healthy. So for instance, if you're a sedentary person, you don't get out of the house very much, you're in a dark room all day, depression can seep in. Getting your body moving, making sure that, you're eating healthy, getting a lot of sleep, well, not a lot of sleep, enough sleep, and drinking a lot of water. Those things can help with our emotional state. They can help us to make sure that our moods are stabilized, and that we're able to kind of have the energy necessary to be able to deal with the emotions that do come, especially the big ones, abandonment, rejection, anger, depression, and things like that. We need energy. Emotional energy is not just something that comes out of the air. Your body is involved whenever you're emoting, and so we need to be able to have that energy and be as healthy as possible physically, so that we can also be as healthy as possible mentally and emotionally. Next one, please.
Last one is empathize often.
So when we empathize with our kid, we let them know that whatever emotion they're feeling is a normal emotion that they should be able to feel. We help them to understand that they're not alone in their particular situation, and that we're there to help them get through it. When we're empathizing, we let them know that we've been where they are, and that, we've been there and we've come to where we are, which means that they can also come out of that particular situation. And so, making sure that we, as parents, we, use the resources that we have, the village that comes with, us. It is true, it does take a village. I do have other people who, talk to my daughter when she might have some things on her heart that she's not comfortable sharing with me. She has other people that she can go to. She has dance. She has, a journal in her room that she gets to write her thoughts and feelings in. She has games that she can, kind of de-stress with. So just making sure that our kids have the tools to be able to self-care, take care of themselves when they are feeling emotionally stressed, but also being able to ensure that they have the resources to know what they're going to be doing when they are in a stressful situation. So, as always, like this video, subscribe to this channel, ring the notification bell, and really comment on ways that you help your children to be able to de-stress. Maybe I can use some of your tips, maybe you can use some of mine, or whatever the case is. Let's help each other. But until next time, love all.
Bye.